Former kindergartner teacher Margaret Hamilton had resigned from her job after she realised that she had a knack of being a character actor for when she did a run of theatre performances for small children. The early 30s proved promising for the young actress. She was gaining supporting and secondary roles in motion pictures. But things would be difficult for Miss Hamilton by 1938. She had gone through a divorce and had a 3-year-old son that she needed to support. Thankfully, luck would be just around the corner. The movie studio MGM, who she had frequently worked with prior, were currently working on the most ambitious and expensive movie up until that point in Hollywood, and they wanted Margaret on board. The motion picture they were working on was a film adaptation of a children's story that she was very familiar with.
And one day my agent called and he said, they're sort of interested in you for a part in The Wizard of Oz. And I said, oh gosh, think of that. I said, I loved that story from the time I was 4 years old. What is it? And he said, well, the witch. And I said, the witch? Then he said the final thing. He said, yes, what else?
Well, on the bright side, she was chosen over the glamorous movie star of the day, Gail Sundergaard, for the role of the Wicked Witch. Just don't tell Margaret that Sundergaard didn't want the role, for when the higher-ups changed their mind on a beautiful witch to an ugly one instead. Reportedly, there were many scenes as Margaret as the witch that were deemed to be very intense for younger viewers during the original test screen. And the family of L. Frank, the man responsible for the original Oz books, were additionally not too pleased with the portrayal of the witch. That because of this and trying to reduce the runtime of the movie, many scenes and lines of the witch were slightly trimmed down. Margaret wasn't aware of it yet, that this role was going to be one that she was going to be best remembered for the rest of her career. Unfortunately, when the movie was completed, it was released right at the dawn of World War II, which spoiled international sales. That was seen as an essential asset for the movie to recoup its budget. Because of this, Wizard of Oz didn't have a chance to flourish. But a decade later, The Wizard of Oz would gain a second opportunity. It would be re-released in 1949, where it finally had a chance to recoup its budget. But that wouldn't be the end of the movie's legacy. Oh no. 7 years later, on November 3rd of 1956, Burt Lahr and Julie Garland, who originally played as the Cowardly Lion and Dorothy respectively in the film, introduced the first live telecast of The Wizard of Oz. Unfortunately, the introduction footage no longer exists, but that shouldn't be too much of a surprise, because many TV programs made during this time were mainly designed to be seen once. But Wizard of Oz would be reshown yet again 3 years later in 1959, and the views were moderately healthy. That for network executives, they couldn't help the temptation to more frequently show The Wizard of Oz. So it would become a yearly tradition to show The Wizard of Oz, typically retelecast during the holiday seasons. The marvel of the transition from black and white to colour in the film couldn't visually be seen, since the advent of colour TV was not yet devised. So in the early days of Oz's showing on TV, viewers would be none the wiser that Oz was actually in colour. The way that the film was becoming entwined with American culture built it up to be considered as the most beloved film of all time, while unfortunately the surviving actors didn't have the reimbursement of royalties. They did in exchange receive much more heavier demand in work for making either movies or TV guest appearances. Ray Bolger would occasionally dress up as the Scarecrow a number of times. Most excitingly, he would have a chance of reprising the character in the audio story Scarecrow of Oz.
But I'm a very lucky scarecrow, and the official songwriter of Oz wrote that song about me.
Margaret Hamilton would make her fair share of guest appearances. As the Wicked Witch, she nearly became a recurring witch character, Grandmama, on the TV series Addams Family, but she declined the role. Instead, she played Morticia's mother, named Hester Frump, appearing in 3 episodes of the original series. She would eventually reappear in the classic Wicked Witch makeup in the 1976 Paul-In special, and previously made 2 guest appearances on kindergartner shows, appropriate and familiar territory for Miss Hamilton, as she was a formal teacher before her acting career. Many people that worked with her said that she was a natural with children. The first of these children's programs she appeared on one was Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, where her and Mr. Rogers discuss on her witch costume, reassuring the young viewers at home that the movie is only make-pretend. Margaret additionally sits down and opens up to her life as being a grandma, further clarifying that she's only just a humble lady. The following year of 1976, she would reappear on another children's show, this time round fully made up as the character of the Wicked Witch, in episode 847 of Sesame Street. As far as it seems, this was the only occasion that any of the cast members from the original MGM Wizard of Oz would reprise their role in a semi-straight live-action capacity. The episode features the Wicked Witch losing her broom after a gust of wind, which falls into Sesame Street and lands in the hand of David. The witch, being furious, demands David to give her back the broom straight away. David, finding the witch blunt and rude, refuses to do so until she learns some manners. The witch is unable to snatch the broom back, due to a spell that when someone else is holding the broom, she's unable to grab it without getting an electric shock, leaving the witch temporarily stuck at Sesame Street.
What is this, David? Some kind of a game?
While stuck at Sesame Street, she does wicked spells, like making it rain in the Mr. Hooper store.
David!
She threatens to turn David into a basketball and Big Bird into a feather duster, while the witch has been far from sociable, not necessarily getting on anybody's good side. That is with the exception of our foul pal Oscar, who finds her rather alluring.
You have got to be the most beautiful person I have ever seen.
Oh, keep still.
Wow, I think I'm in love.
Really?
Inspired from this encounter, the witch has one more idea to get the broom back, disguising herself as a sweet elderly lady. David is at first none the wiser for when she enters into the store, but it's when she insists to hold the broom is where he starts getting suspicious. When he discreetly susses out that it must be the witch, he comes up with a plan to force out a kind gesture from the disguised witch.
I don't think a nice lady like you would think that way. So, I mean, you could ask me real nice, couldn't you, if you wanted to hold the broom, right?
Yes, I could.
I'm sure you could. How about it?
Please let me hold the broom.
Certainly.
I got it in my broom.
Once finally getting her broom, she makes a hasty retreat out of Sesame Street.
Look! No hands!
Unfortunately for her, she drops it yet again, ending the episode. The teaching curriculum goals of the episode was the value of planning for when the witch was trying to receive her broom, and alongside that, developing fear, although that last one may have worked a little too effectively, as the children's television workshop responsible for making Sesame Street received a number of complaints from parents that their kids were terrified of the episode. Taking these concerns into evaluation, a month later, over a period of several days, they showed the episode to several groups of kids to gauge with their reaction. Several of the kids were rather fascinated by the witch. Due to only having a black and white television at home, they were mesmerised with the witch's green face on the colour monitor. Additionally, with the children's peers being alongside the kids while watching the episode, it was difficult to conclude on how the kids would react if they were watching the episode on their own. Thus, they decided that it may be less complicated to just simply cease re-airing the episode. Margaret Hamilton would continue supporting children's education. She was elected to the Beverly Hills School Board in 1985, 9 years after her appearance on Sesame Street. At the age of 82, Margaret Hamilton would pass away. By the 2010s, interest for the foreclosed episode began developing with the public. Sesame Street Workshop did take notice, and did sincerely wanted to engage with the fan base to release the episode. But due to the amount of parties that can be involved from episode to episode, such as contacting actors or their estates, negotiations can sometimes be tedious or even impossible, just to get them redistributed. On November 24th in 2019, President of the Jim Henson Legacy, Craig Shaman, hosted a special showing at the Theatre of Moving Image in New York, home to a permanent display of the Jim Henson exhibition. There they showed many rare Sesame Street clips that hadn't been seen on television for decades. This included the unaired episode Snuffy's Parents Get a Divorce, and the elusive Wicked Witch episode. They were able to show it in the capacity of fair dealing for educational purposes. They additionally screened the elusive Sesame Street cartoon that was lost for many years, Cracks, which was for a long while highly sought after by fans. Allegedly, when it played, the audiences applauded. In 2022, it was publicly revealed that you could book to see the episode at the Library of Congress, but within a matter of days afterwards, the full episode was unofficially uploaded to the internet, giving the public the luxury to see one last time the very original character from the most beloved film of all time.